You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Hey! Hello, is anyone there? Where the hell am I? I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Surf is probably insane. I'm not insane. Surf is insane. I gotta get out of here. I can't handle this anymore. I gotta get out. What's going on? I gotta get out of here. The waves are perfect right now. I gotta go.
Calm down, Fred. Everything will be okay. We're here to help you. I'm your friend.
I'm not Fred. I'm Taylor Knox. I gotta get out of here.
I know. And I'm Kelly Slater. We got Rob Machado in the next room. I got your schedule for your usual dose. We'll get it to you and you'll win the heat. Don't worry.
Right. Dose. I need the dose.
Well, I shared some photos today because it's just like, no matter how much evidence you show people, can you see what I see right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And you just gotta, sometimes you gotta walk people through this stuff. There's a lot of people that are just now looking into this stuff and they can't connect the dots. They're talking about landslides and mudslides, and they don't have no idea what mud flood is or what we're actually talking about. I just got to keep that in mind that, this is new information to a lot of people, because Philip, at the end of the day, there's overwhelming evidence of this mud flood event that happened. So what we're looking at right here is a building, and in this building,
it's a museum. It's a museum called Rubel Museum from my hometown. It's the exact building I've been talking about when I was walking near this building each and every day. So it's
no shit.
Yeah, it just, as you can see, show it back. Say something. So the screen.
Whoa, you mean right here?
Yeah. So as you can see, the top of this window was sticking, so it was like a little brick, and people thought it was a basement. It was a basement, just like all you guys that write me about the basements. Everybody else will be thinking just this is a basement floor window, like a regular basement. So, but when they excavated, they saw what you see right now. So it's like
sub-level. A whole nother door. Like, this was like the original door right here.
Yeah,
look at this.
Definitely. And to the right also, the door was bricked up.
Look at that. Yeah, it's bricked up. So, and then how old is this stuff? That's what we're trying to say. Like, wow.
And this building is not very old. They say it's like 19th century, so it's like the end of 19th century. So they probably used the old building, just like I've been talking, the old building foundation, and probably just extended it up there, or maybe used a couple of stories of that old building and extended it up for a couple of more, which got buried actually.
Right.
People say they forgot to excavate even deeper because they were like scared.
Right. Look at that.
They have to just change the pavement and communications nearby. So that's what they found out while changing the pavement.
Right. So here, this is where the street level was at.
Yeah.
And when they excavated and they removed all this dirt, this is what was left. These windows, these bricks, and these door entrances, sub-level, okay, underground, folks, okay. So there was an event where there was like liquid mud, okay, that encased these buildings, okay. How and why, we're still trying to figure that out, but it happened, okay. So, and that's what we're trying, to inform people and let people know, like, look, check this out. And you can find this in your neighborhood and where you live at, because this was a worldwide event that happened.
And this is actually uphill, so this is not downhill. It's up. It's the top of the city. This is not even lowest point. It's just the top point. So understand, this is not the lowest point of the city. It's not even close to the river or something. It's on the top of a hill.
Right.
So you like step on the hill, and you get this building, and then you walk straight. So it's the top of city level.
Wow. And what's crazy is, like, how far does this building go? You know what I mean? Mind blowing. Here we go. We have another example. You know, it's
yeah, also near my job right now where I'm working. That was my hometown, like 2,000 miles from where I live right now, and this is where I live right now, Moscow actually. So this is also near my office. This is the Polytechnical Museum. And they say it was built in 19th century, also second part.
Yeah, everything was built in the 19th century.
Everything was built in 19th century.
Yeah.
And it's so-called Neo-Russian style, but I think it looks more Tartarian than Neo-Russian, but who knows?
Yeah.
Actually. Also red brick.
Yeah, it's the Tartarian.
And we have the pictures of constructions, of course, we have them. But there are also some, not like total evidence, but some type of evidence, of course, they provide. But nobody can answer actually what is wrong with those bricked up windows down there and bricked up doors.
Yeah.
And this is huge. Those windows are huge. They look like small from here, right? From this view, but they are really huge, like 8 to 10 meters, I think, deep. Not less.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This is what we're talking about.
These are huge doors and huge windows. These are like, big
shit, man. And look how much earth they had to excavate and move. Look at the doors. Looks like there was a whole other door here.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in fact, they excavated even more, and it was like 18 meters deep, and they had a museum of the so-called mine museum, so mining museum in this museum. So, and it was made like in Stalin's period. So, but nobody knew about these down brick windows. So it's like totally new information. But for us, we never expected, of course, that they would easily show people. Not show, but let people picture it, because they're so stupid. They don't understand what they're showing. They're like, oh.
Yes. Yeah. Culture layering. Check this out. Another good example of you can see where the street level was at up here.
Yep.
And this is where the mud and this is where they remove the mud, and this is what you get.
Yeah, people, and let's specify. Mud is not just mud. Mud is clay, stone, rocks,
ash, whatever. Same shit, right? Same shit is coming out of the earth. Okay, that's what we're talking about. In case and everything. Someone told me, "Oh, we're talking about the same shit, man. Volcanoes is not what you think they are." Okay, everything they told you on Discovery Channel, the History Channel, and all of those National Geographic channels, it's all bullshit. Okay, right? Figure it out yourself. Smart.
You steal the building from the previous owners first. Remember that.
Absolutely. And there's a word I want to use. It's called a preponderance of evidence of this mud flood. A preponderance. Okay? Overwhelming amount of evidence of this.
All those bunch of sinkholes in the towns when the cars just sinking in the traffic. It's all because of the ancient buildings below, and they just, roofs of them and some, hanging construction bars. Also, they have some, containment rate, and this containment rate is, changing each year. So if you have some pressure above it, you have like a sinkhole, because those buildings won't hold on for long. It's like 200 years. It's like very tough. So they have sinkholes in Russia each and everywhere.
Right.
And people start excavations and find out that there's a building underneath.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And everywhere it's red brick. Somebody posted the video from Toronto. Also, our friend on Facebook, who's North American Mudflood Evidence Group, he posted a video when he has a heel and a red brick.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that's the one where he really gets into detail. Like you two are the main guys when it comes to this topic. Definitely on YouTube.
Can you see it?
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that very well.
Okay, so there's plenty of types of resets, and if we can, kind of configure them in two parts. First one are artificial, and the others are, looking natural, right? But perhaps not also artificial if you research them a little bit deeper than usual thing. So what is mud flood? Actually, a bunch of evidence of mud flood. You can find these windows that are being excavated during renovations, and you find out that not only windows but the doors are below the ground. So that kind of made me, for example, research this topic.
Phil, I just want to interrupt you for a second. When you see things like that, people do not question these things. They're brainwashed. They don't want to go there because it's not in their history books. It's not on TV. It's anything that's out of the spectrum of discussion on national or international news is not to be talked about. And this is obviously stuff that's concealed, and there's no denying it. This photo alone, right here.
I was walking by this house every day. I was walking because I had an office nearby, and I was walking by this house each and every day for like 6 years, and I was seeing only this type of windows.
What I would tell people out there that are listening in, you cannot be concerned what other people think. You have to go where the evidence leads you, and that's the main thing. And this is, objective evidence that cannot be denied. We're looking at things, very old structure that's underground, and all these buildings. It's just unbelievable.
From the graves.
It's crazy, Philip. I'm looking at this deception here. It seems like we're so easily deceived by illustrations and photos and everything that people just believe. That's how they did it. And because people would see these, like, oh, okay, this happened. And then they make reenactments and they make movies. And, they do stuff like this. Okay, ready? Everybody ready? Get it together. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese, everybody. Like, what are they doing?
I mean, when you have a war, you have people that are dirty, that have wounds, all those, tapes on our hands, and maybe somebody's. Look what they're showing us in the movies. That's more real than what you see right now, right? This is all staged. In the movies, I mean, I'm talking about
our reality. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. They painted our reality, man.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that they show more real stuff in the movies than what we see on those pictures, because those pictures are definitely staged.
Right. Just stage our reality, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. So you're trying to tell me
antique technologists understand how this goes.
Right. They're false in documents from way back then.
Yeah. So Alaska was actually given this way. So they exchange it for false documents, and they kind of lease the Alaska and send the money towards the Russian Tsar, but he never got the money. And documents were faked, and the ship was gone. everybody knows
That's
missing.
all crazy. Fake.
Yeah.
I mean, fake moon rocks, man. Fake. Everything is fake, man. I mean, why do you think Hollywood, man? Hollywood is just prime pump to get us, ready for this fake stuff and used to this fake stuff. I mean, it's crazy. Everything is fake. It's funny. I was talking to somebody earlier. It's everything we was taught that was myth is turning out to be real, and everything that is real is turning out to be completely fake. Mind blowing.
Yeah. Brainwash and Greco-Roman history that we got in the high schools when we learned about those myths and all those poems of Homer and all this Trojan wars and all this gladiator fights and all this shit. It's probably
brainwashing.
Fake.
Brainwashing at a full time brainwashing every day, all day long. No matter what, we got brainwashing from school. Brainwashing. I mean, just brainwashing, just so we can fit in this matrix. Crazy.
Thanks a lot to those guys who actually downloaded the Mudflood channel's video, and I asked him to upload it on some other channel and send me a link. I hope they will do it. Somebody actually saved the videos for themselves.
Oh wow! Oh, that's all. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. I have one video where I use in that Mudflood Untold story about our history. I use a part of one of his videos in there as well. And yes, so I have that. So that's actually good. I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, well, I got that. So that's the only thing. I wasn't thinking about that to record any of this stuff. But it's amazing. Amazing. Just like that, delete the whole library. And that's what they do. In modern day book burning is real. But I do want to show you something.
You're from another planet. Because I've been talking about those trolls.
You're from another planet. Because I've been talking about those trolls.
Because I've been talking about those trolls. Those outcasts. Those outcasts.
Those outcasts. You might figure it out after two pipes.
Farm there, so
that's just the excavator.
Are they putting the pipes there to keep the lava from going into the fields?
You might figure it out after two pipes.
Maybe. It's possible that there's no connection whatsoever, but I just can't help but think about pipes and where they might lay some pipes and how they might get that stuff to be there.
You might figure it out after two pipes.
Right, yeah, exactly. And then after once they get the Mudflood and Tartaria, now they're stuck with the giants right there in their face. Bang! And then with them at the same time, just like sprinkling, on top of a cake, you got the technology, the Antiquitech. Mind blowing, Phil. Yeah. Mind blowing. So it's like professional glasses, guys, and nothing else. I don't wear glasses when I walk around, so it's like. Oh sure. Okay. Oh cool. I didn't even know that. Thanks for that. I didn't give a fuck, but thanks for that. I appreciate it. Now I know. Yeah, it might help. It's not very expensive, but. How's the weather up there? Is it cold? Yeah, it's pretty cold. It's like okay. Yeah. You gotta send me a Kashunka, man. You gotta send me a Kashunka, man. I need one, man. I need a Kashunka. I mean, that's a Kashunka. Real good one. You know what I mean? I don't know what's happening. I can't share. Oh. it's John Levy that didn't understand what other peoples were saying, and other peoples were saying simply that you have no examples of melted buildings. I was saying that to Autodidactic and other guys, that you don't have the examples of the melted buildings, guys. Look at this surface. Does it look to be melted to you? Does it look a fucking melted building to you? No, it's not. It doesn't have any melted evidence. So why are you showing this in the video about melted bricks? About this stuff I'm talking about for several years, how it looks. This is nothing else than switching the topic, then gaslighting the topic, then, disinforming the public that is subscribed to you, John. That's what you're doing. Why are you doing that? Actually, a bunch of people suspected John for this stuff, and I've been silent for several years. People were asking me, who is John? Take a look at John. Just find something about John. I was taking a look at John, and I found some strange thing.
Just dripping down, and it's been hit hard from the top and from the bottom. But having been sucked clean from the bottom, as if everything was just being sucked up from the ground.
Wow! What a statement, mate. Like, that is causing... What is that doing, mate? Now, why would you say something like that?
And we can get a good look at this ground sucking, just dripping down.
I don't get it. I don't understand, mate. Like, if you're a truth man looking for truth...
And it's been hit hard from the top and from the bottom, just dripping down, but having been sucked clean from the bottom, as if everything was just being sucked up from the ground.
I hope everyone can see that you're completely wrong here, mate. And what are you going on about?
Just dripping down. And we can get a good look at this ground sucking.
It's up to you to prove this thing is not what I'm saying. But what you've been saying about sucking in, sucking out, all this stuff is totally speculation. I highly doubt you believe in what you say. As a speculation, okay, sucking in, sucking out can be great. Reason of why rocks are here, but what about they just took it away, just cleaned the area because it's a city? Who would have think it was good to have so many rocks laying around on the streets, right? So, okay. Okay, let's go further.
Being sucked up from the ground. And we can get a good look at this ground sucking at the Hovenweep National Monument, which is found in southern Utah.
Unlike the case before, where all this stuff from the top was marshmallowed and was sucked in or sucked up from the top, we have, as he's saying, that's the biggest example of sucking in, sucking up. Just watch his video and find out what he's saying. Actually, I'm not very good at this sucking in, sucking up thing. But anyways, we don't see this at this footage.
And that means either, John, you haven't got a clue about how to research history on your doorstep, or two, you are fooling your audience.
And our evidence is not going to be found in America. With the amount of money they've put in the park systems, everything has been erased. But out here in Pakistan, everything is just waiting for us. The old world is just waiting to be discovered.
Waiting to be discovered? Why don't you go out and discover it? And then you want to talk about a melted building in blinking Pakistan. And I'm sure you said you was from Utah. You and your dog explore Utah.
And it's been hit hard from the top and from the bottom, just dripping down, but having been sucked clean from the bottom, as if everything was just being sucked up from the ground.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable, mate. What can I say, hey? What can I say?
And it's been hit hard from the top and from the bottom, just dripping down, but having been sucked clean from the bottom, as if everything was just being sucked up from the ground. And we can get a good look at this ground sucking.
No, John. No. Yo, the elephant in the room is when you talk about mud flood is where the fuck did all this mud come from? Yeah. That's what people you can't even get past the ABC if you can't explain this to me. Where the fuck did all this mud come from? The saying is, like, if everybody who tries to deny this or can't see this evidence or can't see that, look, it's not what history is not what they say it is. You got these buildings with these big ass windows. Why would someone like me and you get a big ass window if we're not a giant, if we're not 10, 15 feet tall? 10 feet tall.
So each night they did it.
And so official explanation says that overnight Prague was buried. So like they brought so many soil inside and buried all those levels overnight.
Even if you think about it, like places that are like the Sahara and whatnot that clearly have stuff buried under them because they're just vast deserts that don't seem to belong. There's something odd about them. And either way, regardless of what's buried underneath them, think about it in regards to airships. You could even drop dirt on these things. If you had a way of lifting tons of masses of things, like we do helicopters with water and fires in the West, they could probably lift huge amounts of dirt and just dump them onto different places, cover land, reset cities by just dumping the land on them. These things could have been used to terraform or to basically reshape the entire world if they were, if they didn't just need air and like barely be able to float, which never really made sense. When you think about them having helium in them, they'd bob up and down, they'd be tough to control. There'd be so many different weight imbalances if people were moving around in there. It had to be a technology that we don't really know about.
I'm giving you one more chance. Show me something that is viable.
Look at that. I mean, do you still doubt that there was mud flood? What else do you need? What else evidence do you need?
That's it. I'm done. Not yet dug out. Bloody hell.
Not just, I'm done, I'm going. Is this what you do each and every time when you dump somebody, I'm done, I'm going, I'm done.
I'm done, I'm going. Is this what you do each and every time?
So again, I think this is going to be a nice display for you today.
Yes, we're back.
Yes, we're back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, welcome. To everybody that's on YouTube, I just want to say, yes! FEB, live at the Manchester conference.
Well, that was your first mistake.
At Manchester, Birmingham, the Birmingham conference.
That was your first mistake there, lad.
We're doing the Wide Awake show live. Actually, the Wide Awake.
Yes!
Love it. I came on to, was it, what one was it? Was it the first or the second one I came to in Harden? Was it the first? Was that the second?
In the tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first. That was what kicked it off, yeah.
Yes, from the first and now to here.
I came on here for a serious conversation, and look Making a mockery.
Well, that was your first mistake.
Yeah,
that was your first mistake there, lad.
I know.
You live at the Manchester conference, Birmingham, the Birmingham conference.
Well, that was your first mistake.
Live at the Manchester conference, Birmingham, the Birmingham conference.
That was your first mistake there, lad.
I know.
Live at the Manchester conference, Birmingham, the Birmingham conference.
Well, that was your first mistake. That was your first mistake there, lad.
Live at the Manchester conference, Birmingham, the Birmingham conference, with Martin Liedtke, and we got. Can you hear that?
Martin Liedtke got his channel hacked. Yeah, exactly. So he's like, you know, he gave up his password to somebody who was spamming him on email.
So, title of the stream is Russians hacking of Martin Liedtke's channel.
But he said, I'm sick of your channel, you've been spamming.
I don't even know what that means. I know the definition of spamming. Spamming your own channel? Well, it's not the same subject from one video to the next. That's what it's
The very next day, I get a YouTube email stating somebody's made a complaint saying you've been spamming your channel. Please could you give us your password and your URL so we can check into your YouTube channel to see if it's any efficacious or we'll close you down. So no warning, no nothing. I thought, well, with that comment,
You know, it's a given that it's YouTube. I didn't even think that it wasn't. So I gave him the details.
So this is not exactly hacking, right? It's just, you know, sending you misleading messages, and due to your being inaccurate or a little bit dumb, I'd say, you give up your information. A little bit dumb, I'd say.
A little bit dumb, I'd say.
So it's literally nonsense.
Say hi to Martin.
A little bit dumb. Say hi to Martin. A little bit dumb.
Hey Phil. Redfly, why didn't you tell me you were coming up? I'm a big fish writer. Yeah? But Epic Food season in the house, and I didn't even know until like what, half hour ago.
Yeah. I was caught in the middle of nowhere to be exactly on time for you guys to hear me.
Oh, thanks for popping by, mate. Been a while.
Yeah.
All about the coming together of it, Martin. It's all about the coming together of it. Right, we're going to leave you with the mic. Just say hello to the audience.
Hello to the audience. I want to pop this down.
Say hi to Martin.
So again, I think this is going to be a nice display for you today. So over to you, Rich.
Right. So, what we've got going on at the moment in the Ukraine is
Say hi to Martin.
Oh, stick around, because today we're taking a look at mud flooders. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing the Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder.
Who is he? Is he a scientist who educates us? Maybe he is a physics teacher or astronomy teacher. No, he doesn't look to be.
No, he doesn't look to be. No, he doesn't look to be.
He has all those tattoos and stuff. He has his ears, probably with something he was wearing, and before that he has all those tunnels.
He looks like a, you know, a drug abuse person, actually, to me. Or maybe some, you know, gang member. Or wannabe gang member, like wannabe gangster person. He's like smashing pseudoscience. Pseudoscience, man. You're too old to be smashing shit. Man, you can't even cock the hammer, man. So...
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing the Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder.
I came across this one individual in the UK that did a breakdown on my video on Ron Howard and Arrested Development that I made several years back. And what a piece of work this guy is. As you can see, he's all tattooed up. He has these hoops in his ears for some unknown reason. And obviously the all-seeing eye and no doubt whatsoever controlled op, and he goes by the name of Creaky Blinder. And after watching his video presentation, I give him the name Cringy Blunder, and no doubt whatsoever, again, he's working for the other side, and this guy has absolutely no clue whatsoever what he's talking about, and I'm going to break it down.
And I'm not saying that everything that we see that's red that comes out of volcanoes is molten salt. For example, the shooting lava effect I showed you a minute ago, that's not molten salt. This is what molten salt looks like. I think the type of salt gives it the different colors.
You made my day, actually. I've never seen a salt molten.
Notice the picture on the right, the color there. We'll see that a little bit later here. Okay, so that's molten salt. They dip stuff in there, like certain kind of things they make out of metal. It's a hardening process. It does something that hardens the metal, and of course, there's different types of ways they do it. And but it's hot, right? And doesn't that just look like lava? Doesn't it look like lava? Doesn't it look like lava?
In Russia, we call leave as long as century, learn as long as century. So
is
we
that
have
lava?
to learn, guys.
Yeah.
You know, a bunch of new things pop out just like this.
Excavator.
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 And I find that to be kind of a problem, a little bit. All right, so let's just kind of cruise through this real fast because
so we wanted to talk about little news that we have, recent news, right?
Yeah, that's right, Philip. What's going on, everybody in the chat room? I found out today that while digging, that I could not find any photos of the Civil War of them fighting. No fighting scenes. And all the fighting scenes were paintings or illustrations, just like the fake courtroom cases that they have in the States here. You know it's fake when they give you like a painting, you know, courtroom. It's all staged, it's all bullshit. But it's interesting that we see all these other Civil War photos with the Masons with the hand in the pocket, with the stage cannonballs pyramided up. And we see these, and we know they say photography came out like in the 1830s. Everything was invented in the 1830s or built in the 1830s. And we don't see any fighting scenes, man. We don't see any fighting scenes.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of photos with the guys posing, and I made a video about those weird photos where we just see stage photos, man. And there's no way we can use them as evidence or debunking our theory or something like this. So it's like they're no use because they're all staged.
Right. Excuse me, Phil. I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me screen share while you're talking, because I want to show. I'm going to bring up this. I'm going to Google. If you guys out there and you guys sitting in front of a computer, I want you to Google fighting scenes right now.
Yeah.
What? Because since they know that we know this now, they're going to start flooding the internet with these fake Photoshop fighting scenes. Right now, there are no fighting scenes right now. So let's go. Let's do it together. I want to show it. So go ahead and say what you were saying. I'm going to.
What did you find? I mean, those drawings are definitely not the pictures, right?
Right, exactly. Can you see what I'm seeing right now, Phil?
Yeah, yes, of course.
It's mind-blowing. So we have here, see, we got these photos here, all staged, get ready, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody say cheese, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And we have this, and We don't have any actually fighting. And here we go. So now, some jerk off, with a pencil and paper could just etch this and that's it. But how come we don't have a real? This is all a reenactment stage or a movie. Look at that. It was mind blowing. I was like, no way, man. I was like, no way. How come our grandparents didn't, put this together? And I'm just thinking maybe the lack of information and maybe the lack of access to this information. Because look, this is all the stages. Mind blowing, man. Our reality is not what you think it is. It's all bullshit. They lied about everything. So that's not the, when I brought that up, they were like, well, no, it was only lasted for a few years. I was like, no, be quiet. They took a lot of pictures, supposedly during the Civil War, okay? But you're trying to tell me there's not one picture of them fighting? Get the hell out of here. I'm not buying it. I stopped taking the official narrative for the truth a long time ago.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Because
look at this shit is a joke, man. Look at this shit, Philip. And I think that this is extraordinary, man. It's extraordinary, and you can easily prove this shit, man. Yeah, you know what, Philip? Here's the reality of it. People are going to start. The trolls are going to come up. Yeah. They're trying to do everything they can to make us look stupid and silly, and to divide us and break us apart. I made a post on my Facebook page the other day. I was like, well, if you're going to act like a dick and a jerk off in a group, I don't have time to explain to you how to act in a group. You know what I mean? You never know. You may be talking to a moderator or an admin, and then you're going to go back and cry about it? Come on, get out of here, man. We're all grown-ups, man. I don't got no time to that. I don't got no time to teach you how to behave in a group either. These guys are supposed to be a reenactment, man. This was guys, you got these dudes, you got these people that live for this shit. And what the fuck are they reenacting, huh? They're reenacting paintings, carvings, fake history. Okay, that's how deep that these people inside the Matrix are. These guys are lost.
I'm telling you what they're doing. They're doing it for future generations. They're taking all those pictures that they miss right now, and then they're gonna Photoshop it and put them in the further generations like they were like in 1860s. That's it.
Right, man.
This is what they're doing right now.
This shit, Philip. Yeah. I can't believe I didn't catch on to this shit a long time ago. This is fucked up. I'm sitting over here like, why can't I find no real photo of fighting scenes? Because I'm really I got these books about these wars and stuff like that. So I want to see if I can verify them through, pictures and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, this is how they did it. They crafted it. They had a lot of time to design these fake wars and this fake reality that we live in this fake history. And they staged these events and then backed it up with movies to enforce the indoctrination. Mind-blowing what they did to our history and did to our psyche. And then at the same time beat the divinity out of us. Holy shit. Like, man, this is what you get, man. This is all you get. Right? I mean, think about what these soldiers were doing. What these soldiers were, they're just trying to get. I think the only job they had to do was to kill off the remaining Tartarians, the remaining what they call Indians, Native Americans. I mean, what they do? They just round up these people. Here we got like an ad to join the army.
Some staged events, some battles, as they tell us. But the veterans from those battles were the agents to spread the misinformation after the battles. So those who survived, those who were not sacrificed by their generals, were committed to spread the misinformation and further reality. And the larger scale was never shown to a single unit. I mean, the single unit is inside the unit. You cannot leave the unit. You cannot, deserteer or something like this. You cannot escape. You've been told what to do by your captain, by your major, by your colonel, by your general, and so on. So if you are staged in a staged event, you cannot escape it. Only through the death. And they sacrifice you if they want. They let you leave, and you become an agent. And that's how it works. That's the technology. And I'm probably thinking they did it the same in World War I, World War II.
The reset makes sense why people have amnesia, lost their history, how it was effectively erased from our conscious and our minds throughout time, and how the takeover was taken over because of that reset. And that's how I explain. That would explain why Tartaria is not in control right now, is because of it was taken over because either an event happened that was man-made or something that happened that was unnatural or natural. We don't know. Could have been that our ancients were so goddamn advanced that we're finding out that people can't even fathom right now. Did they try to get out of this place by making some type of weapon that vibrated the outside closure of this place that just created so much damn mud that it wiped out half the world? You know, who knows? I mean, who knows? Was it a weapon invented that they just put out that there was been spending years making? Was able just to point because some of these places there's no evidence of a mud flood, and there's most of the world that is. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I think they really.
Yeah, exactly. Because they didn't have it on a large scale as they tell us. It was simply staged events in each and every battle. But the rest of the people were just normally working, you know, paying taxes and taking bills and stuff like this. Just some of the people were fighting, and that some people were, you know, made them to become agents of this information, and then they erased them also in the West. So most of those people just were erased, and that's the only way they could hide the real events, you know.
Right.
What really happened is just the takeover over those who were controlled by Tartarians. They took over the taxes, they took over the money. They established their own money, and that's why we see the money coming from Lincoln. And this is where the money goes. And then we have what we have.
Right. They had to give us this fake history.
Yeah.
This fake paradigm.
And they did it again in 1913 when they established Federal Reserve, because next year they started a war, World War I, you know. This is exactly the same thing. And look again, the Jamaican system or the system of Bretton Woods system, right? It was exactly it during the World War II. Also, the change of paradigm, the change of dollar, change of this currency, and this is why they do it, because it's the period when they switch the paradigm, and maybe they can do it right now, switching to cryptocurrency and also making some crypto war, you know. That's why they're talking about make an attack in digital, make an attack, hacker attack, Russian collusion, all this bullshit that they come up with is just for one thing, to establish slavery in the internet, shut down the freedom of speech in the internet, and just, you know, totally control us via our devices, our cameras. All this stuff is free right now just because they didn't control us before, and they can do it right now because digital economy is on the door. And I was trying to, you know, zoom in. So also very interesting place, Yezo. There's no island like this anymore, but we have Japan here. And probably this is the northern part of Japan and the Russian Sakhalin right now. So, I mean, have you seen those pictures of Japan megalithic structures and stuff like this that I've been showing? So probably.
Yes, the megalithic structures of. Oh yes,
all those huge structures in Japan.
Yes.
I mean, a whole bunch of them.
Water too. So yes. Could have been a race of giants, or you know, there, you know, or
probably something. Look at this, Yezo, Miyako, all those countries that we don't know. Korea, China here, but Miyako and Yezo, what the hell is that? So probably this is the famous so-called how do you call it, Anis right now? Those people that look half Caucasian, half Japanese with those beards. You know, those pictures that the real inhabitants of Japan.
India, ancient Tartary. You got people that are Indians I went up to, right? These guys are straight from India. I was like, yo, have you ever heard of Tartaria? What? They're like, huh? They don't even know, man. That's how effectively these guys.
They're supposed to be right in Russia here or something, but nothing like this. So it's like all of this is Tartaria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is what I was trying to show.
Yeah, man. It's just more evidence, Philip, that our reality is staged. All of our history is fake. Everything they said about what this place is fake. And the other bigger deceptions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, rabbit hole gets deep, Philip. And I think people, I'm not afraid to go and dig and look and find out. Because like I said, I tell people before, history is not hidden anymore. It's just people hiding the history. So you got to dig, you got to find out. You got to question everything. And
I'm looking forward for your road trip to Philadelphia and New York.
Yes, I'm definitely going to plan on doing that for the summer of this year. I'm going to do that because there's overwhelming evidence of mud flood and Tartarian cities, man. Philadelphia and New York are big Tartarian cities, man. Big Tartarian cities, man. Mind-blowing.
They're faking all this stuff, and they already changing the paradigm in history. They're already changing the names. They're already changing the ideas of the stuff that happened 20 years ago. Say hi to Martin.
Say hi to Martin. Say hi to Martin.
When I moved to Moscow, I was, reading about my town, reading news about the place I lived before. So, and I said, oh, somebody found this. And that was the museum that was, actually one of the best footage of mud flood evidence. Because I was walking near this museum probably each day because it was located near my office. And it had this bricked up windows when it was excavated. So it didn't even make sense because, you couldn't have explained with anything because, the sinking of the building doesn't work because the foundations and the walls would crack anyways. So no way that could happen with the sinking. And so it was kind of interesting because when I was living in Omsk, I was familiar with the information about the tunnels that were beneath the city and a bunch of people that were visiting those tunnels and those huge bricked up tunnels, spreading for several kilometers and across the river, and they were used by the Russian KGB and the special forces that were used to govern the city for their purposes, of course. And nobody was let in those tunnels, and so I knew about them because my friend had a shop in the basement, so-called basement, a floor of one of the mansions in the center of the city, and they were, asking the permission to dig a little bit deeper in the basement and clean it up because, a bunch of mud there and a bunch of clay, and they wanted to clean it up so they can get more space beneath their store. And so they got the permit and they started to excavating and digging it with the shovels, and they finally got to this hole to the brick tunnel. And so everybody was descending there, checking what's there, and it was like huge tunnels there. And so the owner of the shop, my friend, went to the museum that was nearby and asked for the scientific workers to come along and with him and check it out, what he found, because he might have found some serious archaeological evidence. But in a couple of hours, just two guys came and started to writing something, and then called somebody, and nothing really happened. So nothing amazing for them was in their eyes, and they were like, oh, we don't know what's the tunnel. Maybe that's the tunnel that was before. Who knows whose the tunnel is? So, and a couple of hours, they came the huge car with the cement and concrete, this concrete truck, and poured the concrete into the hole. A couple of guys from Russian FBI, FSB, came to the owner and said, wow, you don't want to go there anymore. We're gonna pour concrete and nobody's gonna go there. So just forget about this tunnel. So that's how I was familiar with those tunnels. Of course, a bunch of people also told me about this or that way that they found into those tunnel systems. And so that was kind of correlating with those, you know, underground floors of the buildings they found in a bunch of, you know, in a bunch of examples in that city, particular city. So then I started to research Moscow, and I found that, yeah, Moscow is pretty much the same, a bunch of undergrounds, you know, a bunch of underground floors. So those floors, they're supposed to be basement, also have the bricked up windows. So who would have made windows that were looking at the worms? And this doesn't matter, because when we see the hundreds of years past and people are breaking up those windows because this awful, you know, situation to use those windows in the Russian conditions, when you have snow, when you have, you know, rains, when you have all this dirt on the streets. So this is, you know, nothing like, and floodings, a bunch of floodings that were preceded and recorded in official history. So that doesn't make any sense to dig yourself a problem and spend all this money to create all those huge windows in the ground and then brick them up for what? So you either just don't do them, and you know, I doubt that those constructors, those architects in the past were as stupid as to create windows first and then, you know, hire somebody to brick them up. I don't know. So that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, just go ahead.
I've got to tell you the truth. Before I saw the mud flood, I saw it before in many channels, and I was like a little bit skeptic. But when I got across your channel, I was like, oh my God. I think I've seen real proof, no, like real evidence of real mud flood. No, it's like a little bit crazy because here in Spain, for example, people, they just do like a tunnel for the metro or for a train or for anything, and you can just see how they find like an amphitheater. They find something from ancient Rome. They're telling us, I don't know if it's Hellenistic ancient artifacts or, well, the thing is that here in Barcelona, they're still looking for the Colosseum underneath the city. And I was thinking the other day, like, wow, my God, are you telling me that nobody has seen the Colosseum before and they're just looking for it because that's the official story? It doesn't just make sense.
Well, so officials don't really deny the fact that the mud and clay is, you know, depositing in the area after any huge flood, right? Any huge flooding, any dump, you know, dump crush or something, when the whole bunch of waters, you know, flood in the area, it deposits a little of clay and mud, but it leaves the marks on the walls. And if that's a salt water, for example, if we talk about, you know, tsunami or something like this, and some, you know, huge global flood, it's definitely not a ordinary water flood. It's going to be salt water flood, right? Because if that's global, if something's global, I don't know, you know, worldwide, it's definitely going to involve the seawater and the ocean water. So we're going to have a bunch of marks of salt and water on the walls. And there's no way you can change it, because, you know, all this humidity and stuff like this is going to affect the walls, and you're going to see that on the walls. And we see that during the floods, during the recorded floods, we see those marks on the walls. And in some cities, they even have those small, you know, signs where the water has reached at that certain year's flood, right? Mm-hmm. And so this concept didn't work, in my opinion, because, you know, it's supposed to be targeted. And if it's targeted, I don't believe in coincidences. I think there is some type of conspiracy in that fact, because, you know, or at least it was a conspiracy way before, and now it's, you know, just the routine knowledge that people gained during all this, you know, 200 years, and actually added information just brainwashed all the scientists, and scientists just don't see the official evidence.
And regardless of what you think happened, I think everyone can agree that these are the remains of structures, whether they've been covered in volcanic ash or plasmified, anything but primitive. This is super advanced.
Anything but primitive. But take a look, it's anything but not that primitive. It's okay, but it's not plasma for sure. So it's like, you know, we are talking about different types of, it's like a word debate, phonetic script that John is promoting here. It's like ties in well, everyone would agree.
No, everyone would not agree here, John. Believe me, everyone would not agree, and nothing ties in well here, and it's not plasma or anything, because plasma would make it a glazed surface, and it's not glazed, right? It's not glazed.
Even in its complete ruined state. And you see the block lines have just fused from such a heat. And yet this structure must have been diesel. Maybe this thing was made of thick metal or something. And here again, without the red, and clear as could be, nobody's coming up here and carving this point here.
Why not? Why not? Why not carve this thing to make it look like a house? Why would some people would have done that for sure if they wanted to attract tourists to make these caves or something, right?
I think everyone can agree that these are the remains of structures.
No, everyone would not agree here, John. Believe me, everyone would not agree.
I think everyone can agree that these are the remains of structures just dripping down. No, everyone would not agree here, John. Believe me, everyone would not agree.
Oh, you know, John, you should talk about 1871 real quick.
My pleasure.
And then we'll end it there.
Well, like I've said in other videos, America was lost in the Civil War. It was hijacked. But anyway, 1861, 1871 is the season of treason.
And don't even take our word for it.
I'm chain smoking lately.
Of that book.
Molten salt. Some lava is molten salt. Not all of it, but some of it. The fire hose in Hawaii, which is a stream that comes out of the side of the.
So you're saying that's a salt?
I'm saying that's molten salt. All right, let's just take a look at this cliff. Is that lava? Does that really look like lava to you? What is that white stuff anyway?
Salt. Right. It's salt.
Exactly, Philip.
We have it on the different buildings.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's pouring. It's I don't know how it's soaking through the bricks and creating those salts because we have cold weather in Russia and sometimes it's happening.
Yeah. And again, I'll just renew my statement. What color is lava anyway? Because apparently it's at least 8 colors.
Depends on the budget and CGI production skills.
Yeah, look at all that white in there. What is all that white? And why is it mostly over where it's coming out and less over here? What does that tell us? It tells us something. By the way, that's a slag heap at the bottom. What is that exactly? Is it a slag heap, Philip?
It sure is. I was looking at Hawaii like 5 years ago, and it looks like a big mining waste.
Yeah, it sure does. All right, so there's our lava coming out.
Pretty quick for lava.
Look at it. That's the consistency of wet paint. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, right there. There's the scene I was looking for. I mean, look at it. Is that lava? Or is that just viscous, molten salt? Because basically it's just the consistency of paint. Looks like water. That's because it's what it is. Sort of. Like I said, they control these places. I mean, does that picture on the left even look real? I mean, that's ridiculous. Look at the salt on there. They control these places. They only allow 4 boats to go over there because they don't want you seeing what's really happening there.
Ocean vaporization can also maybe vaporize some salt, but not in such amounts.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be on the other faces of the rocket? Only right there where it's coming out. This is a salt formation at the Dead Sea on bottom, and you could just kind of just use your own imagination.
Dead Sea is a very questionable place, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Stories there.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting place to discuss.
Sulfur can actually do this burn also and can explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard about sulfur?
Mm-hmm. Also known as brimstone. So I see salt coming out of the fire hose. That's what I see. I see molten salt. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. They could be actually slow lava flow like we have right now at La Palma. Also, they can engage in filming such fast amounts of salt.
Yeah, I think La Palma is something different, though. I don't think that's molten salt. But could there be molten salt in there as a component of whatever that is? Yeah. But is it pure molten salt? I don't think so.
Oh, you have a color breakdown here, right?
What?
Color breakdown.
Oh, yeah. Your different salts, different things, give you different colors. And I think that's where the coloration comes from. Oh, you got that color lava flow today at the fire hose? Oh, they're using that salt. Oh, you want a different color? No problem. Because that is what it is.
So it's basically all video production and faking as what they do with these, you know, how do you call it, food artists or whatever, when they want to fake a huge body doing film in the film, like they do all this fake food everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just all about video production and skills of those you know, CGI artists.
Yeah. Now we're going to get into
special effects. They call it special effects. Also. Yeah.
Now this stuff here, what is it? Is it molten salt? I don't think it's the same stuff that's coming out of the fire hose. I think it's something different. I think it's a mix of stuff. I think it's a custom mix of like maybe coal ash, fly ash, molten salt, different stuff. Now, what's interesting about the lava that you see that's red and yellow that's flowing is that first of all, it's almost always in a channel where the flowing red material is below the level of the ground that it's flowing in. When lava, and that really should be flowing over the top. Why would it be below the surface of the ground like a river? It can't. Now you can make a foundry in the ground, and very simple. It's not that very hard. You could also create a foundry in the bottom of a volcano by using the same kind of thing. Now I think they cook it using the directed energy weapon, and not necessarily like there's a big metal foundry or something underneath there. But it's possible. But I think it's all done by directed energy. Isn't it interesting that the lava pool there has the shape of electricity in it?
Yeah, might as well answer that question. I don't know.
All right, I think we're getting into the part where we're talking about the shooting lava effect. The shooting lava effect is where you get a second of red rocks coming out of the top. And then what they do is they show you this scene in slow motion. Or in this photography, like where they kind of like where I showed you where somebody carried a flashlight through the cave, and if you leave the camera aperture open long enough, it'll create streaks, right? And that's what they do with the shooting lava effect. It looks like this. This is what it looks like. And it just lasts a second, and that is the directed energy weapon hitting that pile of material on the top, and it just kicks it up real quick. And then what they do is they show it to you using camera tricks. To make it look.
Yes, I've seen this.
To make it look like this is really happening. Now, there are places where this is kind of happening, like Hawaii. But that's one of I call those places Disneyland spots. Those are volcano Disneylands. But they kind of need to make all the other volcanoes look a little like that, right? So they take a normal pile that they're just that there's a solid bottom in, and they just make this effect, and they pretend, oh, this lava come out of it, but it really didn't. It only lasted a second. That's how they do these pictures. You just keep the camera aperture open.
Time lapse technology.
Yeah, the time lapse, is that what you call it? And that is what this volcano is there. It's the same thing. All right. All right, let's talk about this one here. This is an interesting one. This is the Cleveland volcano in Alaska. And you can see this little, this brown circular thing there.
Yep.
And you have to ask yourself, how did that get there? Why is that there? Why is it a different color than the volcano is? Because if the volcano is made by lava and that is lava, should it not look similar? How could there be a big brown empty spot in the middle? It can't. It's because it was put there. See, oh, they just discovered it one day. Oh, look, everybody. We got a lava dome that formed. Oh, really? What that is a pile of material creating a pyrotechnic explosion. What is that material? I don't know. Is it charcoal? Is it coal? Is it mining slag? Whatever it is, when heated by electricity, it turns red and looks like lava. That's what it is. So here's this thing, right? And there's no video of this eruption because I looked for it and I couldn't find it. And so this is a before and after. And then afterwards, you got this thing here. Now, I don't know what this thing is, but it sort of looks like a disc to me, like a big washer. But I can't say for sure what it really is. But what do we notice about this crater before and after? The crater got deeper. Can you see that, Philip, how it got deeper?
Yeah, I see it.
Because what they do is they ablate this area and the rock goes up into the sky, and they call that an ash cloud. And all they did was laser ablate that rock up into the sky. And so the crater gets deeper. So is that a big piece of metal? I don't know. But we know they put metal in the bottoms of, like, for example, microwave popcorn. There's, I believe, some kind of metal strips on the bottom of that when it's in the microwave, it heats the popcorn up hot enough to cook fast, right? So is that what this device is? It's possible. But what's really interesting about this, Philip, is in August of 2015, it's here. Right? And then the next year it's gone. The hole got deeper. You got this, what looks like a metal ring in there. And then what happens the next year? The exact same thing is back. The exact same thing is there again. Slightly in a different location. So did the hole where the lava comes up out of, did it go, okay, boys, move it to the right. We're going to come up over here today.
Oh, I see. I see your point now.
Yeah. Notice how it has the empty space in the middle and that little dark brown circle in there. It's still there. It's exactly the same. So what is it? It's a load they placed there. How did they do it? I don't know. Did a craft come over the top of that and dump that there? Maybe. But whatever it is, it's there again. And it looks exactly the same. It's the same shape. It's the same everything. It looks exactly the same. So did the lava just suddenly, if you think about what a volcano is, a volcano is supposed to be lava that comes up hundreds of miles, right? From deep inside the magma, and it rises up through these passageways, and it comes all the way to the top. So I'm supposed to believe that this lava somehow rose all the way to the top, and it just decided, okay, boys, let's shut her down right here at the top of this hole here, right? It's impossible.
Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, there we're going to get into the... Yeah, I think I showed you this already. There's just no way that this powdery, dry powder stuff can come out of lava. It just doesn't make any sense. And this is like the volcanic ash there I put on the top. Like, where did that volcanic ash come from? Is that just rocks that they found? And they go, oh, this is volcanic ash. And they say, oh, this is volcanic ash. Or is this the actual material that's in that brown cloud? Because I would tell you it's not the same. The stuff that's in the brown cloud is I think, much smaller. All right. Here we go. Now we get into the deeper kind of stuff here. Isn't it interesting that this Hiawatha Glacier is where there's a circle, a hole again? Why is there a hole there, Philip? Because that's where the water comes from. How could a glacier be in the middle of a flat area? Glaciers are supposed to be where the snow from higher elevations is melting and moving down into, right? How could there be a glacier in the middle of a giant flat piece of land? Because that just happens to be where the hole is at, and that's where they pump the water up out of there. And they say, I think this is supposed to be the first glacier that humankind has killed, that we through our global warming crimes, we killed that glacier. But you know what they did, Philip? They turned the water off.
Yeah, just like a big freezer.
Yeah. Now let's look at this. It's the same principles going on here. The few places in the world where lava, what looks like lava, is coming out of the ground, is the exact same setup as a glacier, and they're pumping material out of there. Now, when you look at this glacier, the story of glaciers is the snow is supposed to be coming from other higher areas that melt down and go into a valley and then slide down, right? Where's all that snow coming from? It's coming from a hole in the ground.
Right. There's a bunch of questions to waterfalls and mountain lakes, where all this water comes from. Everybody's saying something like a moisture from atmosphere condensates on the tops of the mountains and then blah 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 blah.
Well,
not sure about that actually.
I think there's a lot of different things going on, but there's plumbing under the ground. The earth has plumbing. If you think about this, I live in Iowa. 90% of Iowa is a farm field. Like literally 90% of the whole state is a farm field. Where does all the rain in the summertime and spring and fall that falls in the snow melt, all the water that falls into these cornfields, where does it go? It goes into plumbing, Philip. It has to. If water absorbed into the ground and just went into the center, toward the center of the earth, there'd be no water. It would all eventually get caught up in the ground and go away, wouldn't it? It gets recycled backwards. It takes the water that sinks into the ground in Iowa and different places around the world, falls down into plumbing. It's not pipes, but it would be channels that they cut. Because remember, they built the ground, they built the earth, they built the ground that we walk on. The bottom floor of the whole level of the many different levels of mining that they made had plumbing set up already in the bottom of it. And this water, that when the water soaks into the ground, it goes into this plumbing and it's pumped back into different places to then come back out again. It's like an aquarium or whatever. It's recirculating the water. Otherwise, all the water would end up in the ground after a while. So it's plumbing. And how does this plumbing work? You think so? You'd think so. Isn't it interesting that synonyms for slag is words for different kind of volcano material? Cinder cone, yeah, cinder cones. I mean, the words just are the same for mining and volcanoes. The words cross each other. You can even find articles that'll tell you that slag is basically the same thing as volcanic rock.
Yeah, I was actually invited to chat with Autodidactic and Berserker Bear. We were talking about melted buildings, and I was showing them this picture about slag and how they producing basalt right now. So it's all can be done literally with instruments and induction stoves that they obtain, like huge stoves which are melting all these rocks and creating them super properties that they can use in pipeline creations and many other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these are durable materials. They are not wearing out like metals. They're very strong.
They put slag in cement and roads and all kinds of things. Well, in the beginning of all this, Philip, I thought all volcanoes were slag heaps. That's what I thought. I thought they were all slag heaps, but I'm now finding they're not all slag heaps. Some are. Maybe most of them are, but not all of them. And we'll talk about some of those as we go along here. These are just some examples that I put together of volcanoes that look exactly like mining.
Yeah, that's the area I was talking about, where all these explosions of terracones were in Donbass. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then they started to level them up, so no more explosions will continue.
Yeah.
Kamchatka, yeah.
You know, do they look the same?
Pretty much the same.
I mean, they look pretty close to me.
Guys in the chat, write us. What do you think?
I like this one. I mean, if that's not the same, I don't know what is. Mount St. Helens. We'll talk about Mount St. Helens here in a little bit and how they did it. How's that a volcano, Mount Vesuvius there? I mean, it just doesn't even look right. So lava comes out of that thing and leaves a nice, relatively smooth surface.
Yeah, Vesuvius is classic.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, how does this one form? So all this volcanic rock and ash come out of a hole in the ground, and it makes a perfect, almost pyramid-looking structure. Look at the sand outside of the pile. You can see it's spotless. There's none of that brown material anywhere. And what color is lava anyway? I mean, does it really look like that? There's no way in a billion years that material come out of the ground could possibly.
This is definitely not lava, because lava is black basalt color.
Yeah, that's just as fake can be. And that's a slag heap in Poland there, and it's pretty similar. There's another one. In this volcano, you can see there's a crack and a partial collapse there. And
partial collapse, yeah.
And you can see this mining pile do the same thing, and it looks pretty similar.
Yeah, did you see me in the videos saying that they were excavating from the side and seeing melted material there, and heated material up to 1500 Celsius degrees?
Yeah, they're depending on what's in that mining pile, there could be things in there that people want today. And
so they were even glowing in the night,
Yeah, I mean, there are like uranium and different kinds of things that are radioactive. And again, this is another one, and this is in Iceland, and you can just see where the volcano, if that's what it really is, it ends right there. How could material come up, magma or ash or whatever they want to pretend it is, how could it come out of the ground and make that and not get anywhere else?
There's a comment: volcanoes erupting looks like thermite welding used to weld railway rails.
Yeah. Now there are a lot. We'll get into this as we go along, but there's a lot of different ways they fake these things, so they're not all the same. And a little bit, and some of these ones I'm going to show you. Looking at these kind of things, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what you're really looking at. Is it a slag heap or is it something else? But whatever it is, it's not a volcano. It's going to be one of those other three choices. But I think predominantly most of them are slag heaps. All right, so we'll just kind of cut through here. And what I find interesting is no matter what the volcano looks like, there's always something that looks just like it. Maybe not quite as big, but looks similar. Even the weirdest shaped volcanoes, you can find something that looks like them. This is just a few examples where I took mining piles and I just threw some smoke in there. And you can just use your imagination. And you can just see how each one of these is easily a volcano. All right, let's move on here because we can't do all of these. So let's just skip around here.
Depends on the budget and your CGI edition skills.
Oh yeah. Well, we touched on this a little bit already. A lot of these volcanoes, they got a very defined boundary to them, where you can just see that's a pile sitting there. Lava. How does lava at Hawaii run for 6 miles or whatever? But all of these don't even leave the mountain. It's still there. And if you look at all these things, you'll see that. Well, there's not even a hole in them. You can look at any volcano, almost any volcano, and you won't see a hole in them. And they all have very defined boundaries. How does lava come up out of there and create those ridges like that? And then stop right there. It's impossible. Now, if all this stuff on the flat part of the land is supposed to be lava that come out of there, well, how come the volcano doesn't show any signs that lava come out of the side of it? Wouldn't it have had to run down the side of that mountain to get onto the ground? But yet you don't see anything there. How does the volcano make cliffs around itself? And again, I'll ask, what color is lava anyway? Is it black? Is it white? Is it brown? What is it? Yeah, we looked at this before. Volcano on top, tailings pile on the bottom. Where's the hole that stuff come out of? Right, we kind of looked at that one already, I think. But volcano after volcano, you could just look at them and see that there's nothing going on there. They're just piles that sit there. When they tell you about volcanoes, they maybe show you a picture like what I have here on the right, where they show the lava coming out and shooting in all directions. But yet somehow for this one, all that lava just somehow jumped over there and didn't come off the side at all. It's just all suddenly just transported itself over there. I mean, can you see in that crater any sign that some molten material oozed up out of there? Or does it all look nice and relatively smooth to you? Like right up there. So how did lava get over there? It's because it did it. And the more you look, the more you see there's just no hole anywhere. The only place where there could be a hole is the handful of places around the world where we actually see what we think is lava coming out of the ground. Those are the exceptions to these rules, and we'll talk about that later. But your average ordinary volcano that has an ash cloud every 2 years, where they show you a big ash cloud coming out of it, nothing's going on. All they're doing is taking a laser and they're a laser ablating a hole in the ash. What they call ash is nothing more than microscopic particles of laser ablated rock that's being sucked up into the sky toward the laser. Well, if you look at allegedly where the volcano is, in order for the lava to reach way over there, almost to the, well, I guess it has reached the water since this alleged picture was taken. How's that lava all yellow colored all the way out there? How's it keeping all that heat going on? Shouldn't it turn at least red by now, or black? How's it all yellow? On the right-hand side here, this is allegedly scientists from the University at Buffalo, and they have some volcano studies going on there. And this is a lava pour, where they melt rock and they pour it down this little chute there. And this picture is 6 feet and 2 minutes later. And so you got to ask, how does lava flow 5 miles when it can't even barely go 6 feet? Now, obviously, they got it rigged to kind of go into that little area they built there. But if you want to see that, I'll show you the video of that if you want. And let's see. And you can see how much effort they had to put into it to even make it work. Notice that he increases the tilt. Because the truth of the matter is lava doesn't really flow. Lava, like anything that's melted, is going to harden in seconds. It's going to quickly start to harden.
All this bright yellow is only on the place of the dump. The further movements.
Yes, it's impossible for it to be bright yellow 5 miles away. Hell, it can't even go 6 feet without starting to turn black. Because once the material leaves the heat of the foundry device there, heating it up, it starts to immediately cool. And you see where he's got to overdump to get that stuff to really go.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth of the matter is, lava would never flow for miles. It would never, ever do that.
The problem is cedar trees and all trees are not rock-like material. They're made of cellulose, and I don't know about you, but every tree that I've ever seen fall down and sit there turns into junk. It rots away. And what mechanism do we have that turns a tree into a stone? I don't see one.
Yeah, a bunch of examples of ancient petrified trees.
Well, if you want to get into petrified wood, all right, that's a whole nother different can of worms there.
Just dripping down. And it's been hit hard from the top and from the bottom, seeming to be cooked from the top, but having been sucked clean from the bottom, as if everything was just being sucked up from the ground. Okay, let's go further. Being sucked up from the ground, and we can get a good look at this ground sucking, just dripping down, and we see these ruins.
No. Everybody says no more tree debate. Just move.
Okay, we'll go on. You know, isn't some of these old pictures interesting? It's like, what is that? Right?
Yeah, they calling them Montes, not volcanoes here.
What is all this stuff? You know, what are these lava domes? I'm telling you, they're a pile of material that they're going to blow up. And that's what it is. And that's what it looks like. All right, let's move along quickly here. Where should we go?
Here we go.
All right, where does the ash clouds come from? The ash clouds are created by laser ablation from above in the dome. They basically are laser ablating the tops of these mining waste piles or electric rocks or whatever they really are. These are examples of what lasers can do. They basically can drill holes. They can drill round holes. They can kind of do whatever they want. The laser, the DEW, or whatever you want to call it, the directed energy weapon, is in the dome, and they target wherever it is that they want to blow up or want to ablate, I guess. And again, you can look at this volcano here. It's like, okay, where's the hole? Well, this hole here on the right, made by a laser, caused a lot of rock debris to go up into the air. And I said, oh, look, we're having an eruption. It's an ash cloud event. Okay, and then a year later, oh, let's do one over here. And they drill another hole and go, oh, look, this volcano's erupting again. And then for a good show, they put some material down on the bottom of it, like right there. And right there on this one here. And this is where you're shooting lava. I call it the shooting lava effect, where red rock will explode up into the sky for a couple seconds and rain down. Yeah, that's part of how they do it, is to get the ash cloud type of event. They're basically just taking a directed energy weapon and laser ablating a hole in the top of these things. And if you were to study these real closely and look at pictures over time, what the craters look like, you'll see that they get deeper. That's because they keep drilling a hole in them. And depending on how you format your laser, pulse laser, the different frequencies they can do it, kind of gives you the different kind of shapes of the holes that they can make. That's Crater Lake. It's the volcano. I think they would say it's extinct in Oregon, and that's a laser ablation crater. It's pretty close. Even that ring is in there. How do you do that? How does lava make a ring? How could erupting lava just create sides like that? But a drill would. How come all the places that have a lava pool, how come they're always round? How does that happen? All of these shapes can be matched up to laser ablation, electrical discharge, Again, this is volcano in Mexico. It's like, all right, where's all that lava coming from? And if you just kind of just go, okay, well, let's see, make a whole eruption. 6 months later, drill another hole, another eruption. That's all they're doing. This is what most volcanoes are. They're this kind of style where it's just a pile of something and they're drilling holes in it. Because most volcano eruptions don't have anything red involved in them. I mean, only a handful actually show you some lava or what, people think are lava. Now, this volcano here on the left, hell, it's down to the ground. But chances are, Philip, this is probably a K formation. So a lot of these exhibits I made before I got into all my cave work, which has kind of changed my thinking a little bit on some of these things. How does a volcano look just like the California fires? How does a forest fire create a column of smoke like that? That's because that's a directed energy weapon being discharged on the ground there. We all think of volcanoes looking like that, but the truth is, you never see that. This is what you usually see. And you have to ask yourself, where is the lava? I thought there was lava in volcanoes. How does all this ash get past the lava? Does the lava move off to the side and say, okay, ash, it's your turn today. We'll move away. And it's your turn to come out. And if that's coming out of magma, how the hell does it look so dry? And how can should it be all stuck together? How's that work? It's impossible for dry rock to come out of magma. Impossible. So these are most of your kind of eruptions. They're just, what that is a laser drilling a big hole in that rock. And the particles that it makes, they're microscopic. So it makes it look like a lot more than what it really is. Well, while you're looking, Philip, look at this one. Like if you think about the lava that comes out of Iceland or Hawaii or something, and comparing that to a piece of basalt that didn't come out that wasn't something we saw come out of a volcano in modern times, are those really the same things? Because I'll tell you that a piece of basalt does not look anything like what we see coming out of Hawaii and Iceland and places, because it's not the same material. We'll get into that a little bit as we go on. Underground nuclear test versus a volcano. And how does a volcano, again, erupt in a circle?
I would say
I would expect if there really was a material up below there coming up, that what you would see is a lifting up of the crust of the top, at least, where big pieces of rock would have to lift up off there. That was the floor of the top of that volcano in the first place. But you don't see any of that. You just see dust come up out of it. You don't see cracks open up and things come out of those cracks. You just see dust coming straight up out of there. And I would say that's impossible. Because what these little things are, like where you see that little cloud coming out of there, that's just basically laser ablation going on. Because, even after these things happen, you can look and see there's how could all this material come up out of there, but yet there's always a bottom afterwards. Right? I mean, how many times, this is a very famous volcano, right? How many times has that erupted? And you still can't see a hole. And you can say this virtually for every place. How does Mount Etna look like the California fires? Do you realize how high those flames are going up there in California? I mean, is that thousands of feet? How does a volcano look? Just like a forest fire. It's because none of these are, because it's not forest fires and they're not volcanoes. That's just something funny I made. Right? It's the same thing. Same thing. Why do they look a little different? Because in the volcano, the dude's drilling a hole. And the California fires, it's not drilling a hole. They're faking a forest fire. So they're not really drilling a hole because they don't want a big hole in the ground to explain, right? So that's why you don't have as much material up in the sky.
Well, perhaps the same reaction, but the attacking different materials.
Yeah. So they look a little different. I mean, how does that eruption look exactly like the California fires? And again, how does the ash get past the lava? It couldn't possibly do that.
I think you have some patterns here.
Oh well, we'll get into that. I'll show you some different ways. Like I said, there's various ways they do all this. It's kind of a long story, but I find this one really interesting. That the mushroom cloud doesn't even come from the volcano; it comes from in front of it. How does that happen? It's like, what are these things? World War I looks like a forest fire. Looks like a volcano. Really? Yeah, some of this we don't have time to get into. We'll talk about smoke rings when we're bored. All right, let's talk about Mount St. Helens, because everyone likes to point that one out as being proof that there's volcanoes. Look at Mount St. Helens. Here's some pictures from Mount St. Helens. And there just happened to be, at the moment it erupted, somebody from the government flying over it with an airplane with their camera ready and their finger on the trigger, and they took a picture of the eruption. If you can believe that. Now, there are no videos of the Mount St. Helens eruptions. People think there is, but there isn't. There's a little video-like thing that they put together where they took alleged still images of the 4 or 5 photographers that were in the area that took pictures, and then they morphed these together into a little video clip I'll show you here in a second. But if you look,
why were we calling Mount if that's a volcano?
I don't know, because they're all the same thing. That's why. And there'll be people tell me, there was lava at Mount St. Helens, but there wasn't. You can look at every picture in the world that's related to Mount St. Helens, and you won't see a spot of red in it. This is like I said, the clips, the pictures they allegedly put together.
They made this video show for us.
Yes, this is not a video. This is images they threw together, and then I think they used CGI and kind of helped it out to make it look like what they think it really looked like, right?
Yeah, a little animation.
But if you look at it, it looks like there's a bunch of explosions going off, going in different directions, doesn't it?
Yep. Looks like miners were screwing around.
Yeah. Here in a minute, I'll show you a bit. I'm going to compare that. All this stuff I don't have in perfect order, so some of this stuff is out of order. Somewhere I have the video of this controlled demolition of a mountain in China here that we're comparing this to. And you can see it's basically this. Let's see, where is this video? I'm way off. Here we go. And they say this is a mountain, but I'm pretty sure that's a mining pile. Right there's your Mount St. Helens right there.
Yep, looks like it.
All right, let's go back and look at it one quick time again, right?
That's what those people were actually the witnesses of Terracon explosions. They were telling the same, that huge amount of, wave of heat and fire and not fire, but rocks and sand and all this stuff, just dust. That very high speed.
Yeah. And if you compare the two videos, if you put them back to back and play them at the same time, you can see they're really basically the same thing. Now they talk about all these millions of tons of ash, but when I look at it, I don't see it.
That was on the Mount St. Helens?
Yeah, this is Mount St. Helens. What I see is a bunch of trees laying down. I don't see 540 million tons of ash. I see open ground out there. But yet all this...
It looks like Tunguska case. We also had these trees.
Absolutely.
In the same direction.
And I'm going to compare this to Tunguska here in a second, actually. Hey, look at these trees. All right. We all know what happens with a tree in a storm. It'll bend, right? But then it always goes back to normal, right? But if it gets blown over too much, the tree could break, right? And then it's not going to pop back to normal. But when you look at these trees, you'll see that they're still bent. How are they bent still? The reason why they're bent is because they were in a microwave oven, and that's why. So all the dust and ash ash that allegedly come from all of this come from the laser ablation of the ground around the mountain. Where's the bark on these trees? Where is all this stuff? It was laser ablated up into the sky, and that's part of what fell down around the place. And the reason they don't bend back is because they were microwaved. And here's Tunguska right there. It's the same thing. They just microwave these trees more at Mount St. Helens, and so they got whiter and more benty than Tunguska. Maybe Tunguska was I don't know, an experiment. Just
Tunguska is very mysterious, by the way, because nobody actually researched it. It's a very distant place.
Yeah,
very distant place.
But isn't it interesting? It looks very similar to Mount St. Helens, because I think that's what it was. It was a directed
I think
image.
they had a couple of chances to do that, like 3 or 4 times with expeditions for 2 months or more, but actually we're not succeeding finding anything except those fallen trees.
Yeah, I don't, if it was the directed energy doing that, couldn't imagine what you would find.
They were trying to find meteorites or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's definitely not true. And here's Mount St. Helen, those same trees compared to a crop circle. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, those crop circles are also mysterious, right?
Yeah, because I think they're done by lasers. That's how they do it.
You can easily calibrate your device. Like, you need calibration for any device. You can calibrate it with this stuff and check out the result immediately if it's correct, if it has any fallacies.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Mud. Where does mud come from in a volcano? But actually, I've made some new discoveries on this lately, which I'll show you here in a little bit. I mean, does it even make logical sense that mud could be in a volcano? How could water be in a volcano? Wouldn't that water have long evaporated out of that magma and lava? How could water be in there? But yet they tell us about mud at Mount St. Helens. Oh, look at the mud. He's got muddy feet.
Tree.
Well, if you want to get into petrified wood, all right, that's a whole nother different can of worms there.
No. Everybody says no more tree debate. Just move.
Okay, we'll go on.
shi tani ëndër, tani e këqyrat e hangër. Qëre ekipa të hangër, për mu kit jo ka nëndër. Orët pa la po shpërla, nënë si kishe këm bankën. Tipat për mu po përlan, po shtyën kush për mu shfontën. Asoja shi tani ëndër, tani e këqyrat e hangër. Qëre ekipa të hangër, për mu kit jo ka nëndër. Orët pa la po shpërla, nënë si kishe këm bankën. Tipat për mu po përlan, po shtyën kush për mu shfontën. Unë e musha këtë arkën, unë ki trep edhe t'martën. Qenë të dajve për jargën, smar leja u shti flakën. Plot 100 si lakën, edhe jom të pi lakën. A nuk bitch shumë për lagët, a old bitches po plakën. Qëre dogna si plashkën, pa 50 mista do dorën. 100.000 për me m'fol mu, nuk o për guap nuk o m'kohën. Se cili qeni vjet dita, dhe ju merd mu e prita. Parët thyrën i nita, presi me nura për zita. Asoja shi tani ëndër, tani e këqyrat e hangër. Qëre ekipa të hangër, për mu kit jo ka nëndër. Parët pa la po shpërla, nënë si kishe këm bankën. Tipat për mu po përlan, po shtyën kush për mu shfontën. Asoja shi tani ëndër, tani e këqyrat e hangër. Qëre ekipa të hangër, për mu kit jo ka nëndër. Parët pa la po shpërla, nënë si kishe këm bankën. Tipat për mu po përlan, po shtyën kush për mu shfontën.